You walk into a room full of strangers. You do not speak to anyone. You do not learn a single name. And yet, before your third step lands, your brain has already made a decision about nearly every face in that room. You think you are just looking around, but the real answer is far stranger. In 2006, two Princeton psychologists, Janine Willis and Alexander Todorov, showed volunteers photographs of faces they had never seen for 1/10 of 1 second. Then the image vanished and they rated the person. Trustworthy, competent, aggressive, you cannot blink that fast. Then they ran it again with no time limit. Look as long as you like. Both groups agreed. The extra seconds did not change the verdict. They changed one thing: confidence. So the thinking it over? That was your mind building a case for a conclusion it had already reached. What delivers a verdict that fast? Light hits a stranger's face, enters your eye, and reaches a switchboard in your brain called the thalamus. There it splits. One copy takes the long road to the visual cortex, where the face is unpacked in detail. That is where you consciously see it. The other copy takes a shortcut. The neuroscientist Joseph LeDoux mapped that second path and called it the low road. It skips the visual cortex and runs straight to the amygdala, the small cluster that handles threat. What it carries is blurry, but it arrives first. You react to a stranger before the part of you that knows you are looking at one has finished loading the picture. The feeling comes first. The face comes second. The reason is invented later. Why would evolution build something so reckless? Because the anthropologist Robin Dunbar's work suggests your species evolved to hold stable relationships with about 150 people. A band of faces known since childhood. You knew everyone. So a stranger was not neutral. He might betray. He might be a mate. He might be the reason your camp was gone by morning. And the cost of being wrong was not symmetrical. Treat a harmless stranger as dangerous, and you lose an opportunity. Treat a dangerous one as harmless, and you lose everything. Evolution cares which mistake leaves you breathing. So you inherited a system tuned to fire early and be wrong in the safer direction. You are running that system in an elevator. But what is it reading? Todorov mapped that too. Trustworthiness tracked the mouth and eyebrows. A slightly upturned mouth read as kind. A downturned one read as hostile. Those are the frozen shadows of expressions. Your brain reads bone structure as if it were mood. Someone born with a downturned mouth is read as angry by people who never spoke to them. So the machine is fast, ancient, automatic. Is it accurate? Barely. When researchers test whether these judgments predict real behavior, the signal is close to noise. It does not work. And yet, it runs the world. In 2005, Todorov published a study in the journal Science. Volunteers saw two candidates from real congressional elections for 1 second and answered one question. Which looks more competent? No names, no policies. Those 1 second judgments predicted the real winners about 70% of the time. It goes further. The psychologists John Paul Wilson and Nicholas Rule found that men convicted of murder in Florida, whose faces looked less trustworthy, were more often sentenced to death. A face is not evidence, but a courtroom is full of human brains, and human brains reach a verdict first and build the argument afterward. So is this simply who you are? No. The reflex is not fixed. It shifts with familiarity, with knowledge, with context. It is not a belief, it is a first draft. Now look at your day. You reach for a rectangle of glass and judge dozens of strangers before breakfast. Profile photos, thumbnails. People asking to date you, stacked in a pile, each waiting on a verdict shorter than a heartbeat. Your ancestors met a few hundred strangers in a lifetime. You meet that many before lunch. And here is the quiet cost. Every stranger you dismiss in 1/10 of a second is someone you will now never learn anything about. The judgment does not just misjudge them. It deletes the evidence that would correct it. You will never switch the reflex off. It is older than language. But there is a gap between the 1/10 of a second and the sentence you say out loud. It is small. It is the only ground you own. So walk into the room full of strangers. Your brain will finish before your third step lands and hand you a verdict dressed as your own opinion. Let it. Then take the fourth step anyway and find out how wrong it was.